Commissioner Gordon, Bane has escaped.
You walk this path alone. No matter how many surround you, no matter how many voices offer comfort or advice, the journey is yours and yours alone. The world is filled with people who claim they want to help, who promise to share the burden, who offer a hand when the weight of life bears down on you. But when the storm arrives, when the shadows fall, when the road becomes treacherous, they are not the ones who will pull you forward. They might hold your hand for a while, they might walk beside you when the path is clear. But when the ground crumbles beneath your feet, you are the only one who can save yourself. You are the one who must find the strength to stand when your legs tremble, to breathe when the air is thin, to push forward when every step feels like a betrayal of your own limits. Life does not negotiate. It does not adjust its demands based on your readiness. It does not pause when you fall behind, nor does it offer a reprieve when you are exhausted. Those who wait for someone to carry them through the hardships are destined to remain in the shadows of those who take responsibility. The truth is, nobody else can do it for you. Nobody else can endure the sleepless nights, the grinding pressure, the weight of your own expectations. You were born into a world where survival is not guaranteed, where comfort is a rarity, where progress is a fight against inertia. And in this world, the only person capable of fighting for your dreams, your sanity, your legacy is you. Those who wait for a savior waste their time. Those who look outward for strength will never understand the power they hold within. The hardest truth to accept is that no one will rescue you. You can spend years hoping that someone will see your struggle, will reach down and pull you from the darkness. You can tell yourself that when the right person comes along, everything will change. But the reality is nobody is coming. Not because the world is cruel, not because people are selfish, but because the only person who truly understands what you need is you. The only person who feels the sting of your failures, who carries the weight of your regrets, who dreams your dreams and fears your fears, is you. And so you must be the one to act. You must be the one to push through when every instinct tells you to give up. You must be the one to create light in the dark, to carve a path where none exists, to build a life that reflects the deepest truth of who you are. Every success you see, every person you admire, every story of triumph you hear is the result of someone who chose to take responsibility for their own fate. They did not wait for permission. They did not rely on the approval of others. They did not ask for someone else to pave the way. Instead, they walked into the unknown, aware that the only guarantee was their own effort. They understood that every step forward was a decision to reject passivity, to deny the comfort of waiting, to accept the harsh reality that progress is forged in solitude. You cannot replicate their success by standing in their shadow. You cannot achieve your own greatness by following the path they created. You must forge your own way, one painful, deliberate step at a time. You must become your own guide, your own motivator, your own hero. Those who wait for the world to change will be waiting forever. Life does not adapt to you. You adapt to life. The universe owes you nothing. Does not care how hard you try, how deeply you want it, how much you feel you deserve a break. It moves forward, indifferent to your struggles, unyielding in its momentum. And so you must learn to move with it, to bend when needed, to break when necessary, but always to rebuild. Nobody else can do it for you. Nobody else can find the will to get up after failure, to believe in the possibility of victory when surrounded by defeat, to push forward when the weight of the world feels unbearable. That responsibility lies with you, and you alone. You have within you everything you need. The problem is not a lack of resources, not a lack of opportunities, not even a lack of support. The problem lies in the belief that you need something outside of yourself to succeed. That belief is the chain around your potential. It is the anchor that keeps you bound to mediocrity, the excuse that allows you to accept less than you deserve. When you finally understand that nobody else can do it for you, you free yourself from that burden. You realize that the only person who can turn your dreams into reality is staring back at you in the mirror. You see that every obstacle is a test, every setback a challenge, every failure a lesson. And when you accept this truth, you gain the power to change everything. It is a lonely road, but loneliness is not your enemy. Those who fear solitude often misunderstand its value. Be alone with your thoughts. Face your demons without distraction. Push through pain without the comfort of another's words. It is to understand that your worth is not determined by how others see you, but by how you see yourself. It is to build a foundation of self-reliance so unshakable that no external force can tear it down. The world will not always understand your journey. Those around you may not see your vision, may not believe in your potential, may not support your choices, but their understanding is not required. Their belief is not necessary. The only approval you need is your own, and the only support you require is the discipline to keep moving forward. The greatest gift you can give yourself is the refusal to wait. Waiting is the slow death of potential. It is the acceptance of a life half lived, a dream half fulfilled, a purpose half realized. Those who wait for others to do the hard work, who expect someone else to show them the way, who believe that life will one day present them with the perfect opportunity, waste their most valuable resource, time. You cannot afford to waste it. You cannot afford to live with the hope that someone else will do what only you can do. You must act, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, but now. You must decide that your life is your responsibility, that every choice you make either brings you closer to your goals or pulls you further away. When the dust settles, when the world quiets, when all the noise fades away, you are left with yourself. You are left with the choices you made, the effort you gave, the life you built. There will be no one to blame, no one to lean on, no one to take credit for what you achieved. It will be you, standing among the ruins of your excuses, the ashes of your fears, the bones of the obstacles you crushed along the way. And in that moment, you will understand what it means to truly own your life. You will see that the strength you sought from others was within you all along, waiting to be unleashed, waiting to be trusted, waiting to be realized. Real change is not a gentle evolution, it is a rebellion, a coup against the tyranny of comfort and stagnation. It begins with a quiet dissatisfaction, a whisper in the dark corners of the mind that something is not right. This whisper grows, gaining momentum, turning into a roar that drowns out excuses and shatters the illusion of contentment. It is the moment when you look at yourself and refuse to accept the person staring back. When you see your habits, your patterns, your failures, and decide they will no longer define you. It is not a polite request for transformation. It's a declaration of war, a revolt against the chains of mediocrity, an uprising of the will against the inertia that has kept you bound. You do not negotiate with stagnation, you overthrow it. Change requires the kind of defiance that most are afraid to embrace. It demands that you set fire to the version of yourself that you have outgrown, to watch it burn with the coldness of necessity. It means letting go of old identities, shedding the skin of who you once were to make room for who you need to become. Those who refuse to rebel against their own stagnation find themselves trapped in cycles of disappointment, living the same year over and over, mistaking motion for progress. They tell themselves that change will come when the time is right, when the world aligns, when circumstances improve. But change does not wait for the perfect moment. It creates it. It is the force that shapes reality, that bends the future to its will, that refuses to live under the rule of past mistakes and old habits. To change is to betray your own comfort. It is to abandon the safety of the familiar and step into the wilderness of the unknown. Comfort will fight back. It will whisper sweetly in your ear, offering you the warmth of routine, the seduction of ease, the lie that where you are is good enough. But you cannot negotiate with comfort. It does not compromise. It will consume you if you let it, draining your potential, leaving you numb to the call of greatness. The only way forward is through rebellion. You must rise up against the parts of yourself that cling to the past, that fear the struggle, that prefer the quiet death of stagnation over the violent birth of transformation. You must become a revolutionary in your own life, overthrowing the old regime of excuses and settling for nothing less than absolute change. This rebellion is not for the faint of heart. It requires a resolve that does not waver when the first shots are fired. The initial surge of motivation will fade, leaving behind the harsh reality of what it takes to rebuild from the ground up. The battlefield of change is littered with the remains of half-hearted attempts, with dreams that died in the trenches of comfort. But those who persist, who push through the fatigue, the doubt, the pain of shedding old identities, emerge unrecognizable. They become living testaments to the power of internal revolution. Every choice to improve, to push harder, to dig deeper, is a shot fired against the forces of stagnation. You do not ask for permission to change. You take it. You do not wait for the right conditions. You create them. Change is not a gift bestowed upon the patient. It's a prize wrested from the hands of resistance. It's the willingness to confront yourself, to face the parts of you that prefer comfort over progress, and to demand more. It is a battle not against the world, but against the limitations you have accepted as truths. And every victory, no matter how small, is a crack in the foundation of stagnation, a sign that the rebellion is working, that the old you is losing its grip. In the quiet moments when doubt creeps in, when the world feels unchangeable, remind yourself that every great transformation began with a single act of defiance. The greatest revolutions in history did not start with armies, but with individuals who refused to accept the status quo. They were outnumbered, outmatched, often misunderstood, but they pressed forward. They burned bridges to old ways of thinking, tore down walls built by fear, and marched forward with nothing but conviction as their weapon. You're no different. The battlefield may be internal, the enemy may be your own apathy, but the victory is just as real. It is the moment when you look at your life and see your fingerprints on every part of it, knowing that nobody else could have done it for you. Change is not a switch flipped overnight, it is a siege. It is the daily struggle to push through the resistance, to starve the old habits and feed the new ones. It requires strategy, discipline, the willingness to endure the long winter of discomfort until the spring of transformation arrives. Many will give up before they see the flowers bloom. They will retreat to the safety of their old lives, claiming change is impossible, that the battle is not worth it. But those who persist, who hold the line even when progress feels invisible, will witness the world shift under their feet. They will stand among the ruins of who they once were, breathing in the fresh air of possibility, knowing they have earned their place on the throne of their own life. The rebellion against stagnation does not end with success. It is an ongoing battle. Complacency is always waiting, ready to reclaim its territory the moment you let your guard down. The real rulers of their lives do not rest on their victories. They use them as stepping stones. They understand that the greatest threat to progress is not failure, but comfort. They keep pushing, keep striving, keep evolving, knowing that the moment they stop, stagnation will tighten its grip once more. To change is to commit to an eternal state of revolution, to always be pushing against the boundaries of what you know, of who you are, of what you believe you are capable of. Those who rule their lives do not seek peace with stagnation. They seek its eradication. They do not settle for the good when they know greatness is within reach. They move with purpose, guided by a vision that others cannot see, driven by a fire that others cannot extinguish. And when they achieve what once seemed impossible, they do not stop. They look forward to the next battle, the next challenge, the next opportunity to prove to themselves that nobody else could have done it for them. They understand that the only way to truly live is to always be moving, always be growing, always be rebelling against the comfort that threatens to steal their potential. The world divides itself into two types of people: those who believe they control their fate and those who believe fate controls them. This divide is not a matter of circumstance, but of perspective. It is the difference between an internal and an external locus of control. Those with an internal locus of control move through life with the understanding that every decision matters, that every action ripples through the fabric of their reality. They see themselves as architects, as sculptors, as the sole authors of their story. When the storms of life rage, they tighten their grip on the wheel, knowing they may not control the wind, but they can control their course. On the other side stand those who have surrendered. They are not passengers in their own lives, they are cargo. They float, they drift. They blame the tide for their misfortune, believing the universe deals the cards and all they can do is play the hand they are given. The tragedy is not that they face hardship. Everyone does. The tragedy is that they believe hardship is all they will ever know. Taking action is the key that opens the door to a new reality. It is the line that separates the victim from the victor. The moment you decide to act, you reclaim control. You shift from a passive observer to an active participant in your own life. It is not enough to want control, you must take it. The mind does not shift from external to internal by wishful thinking. It requires action. It requires proof. The only way to rewrite the narrative is through deliberate, consistent effort. Every choice you make is a vote for the kind of person you wish to become. When you choose discipline over comfort, effort over ease, progress over stagnation, you cast a vote for the internal. you reinforce the belief that you are in control. And as these choices accumulate, they build momentum. The mind begins to believe what the body demonstrates, that you are not a victim of circumstance but a force within it. You do not merely react to the world, you shape it. You don't wait for opportunity, you create it. This shift is not a single moment but a gradual transformation. The external locus of control is persistent. It whispers that nothing you do matters, that the world is too big, too unyielding, too indifferent to change. It points to past failures as evidence, to the struggles of others as proof that success is rare, that life is unfair. But those who take action do not listen. They drown out that voice with movement, with progress, with the tangible results of their effort. They understand that control is not something granted, it is something seized. It is a throne that must be taken by force, not handed over by circumstance. And every time they choose action over passivity, they strengthen their grip on that throne, solidifying their rule over their own destiny. The beauty of an internal locus of control is that it transforms failure into fuel. Those who believe they shape their destiny do not fear setbacks. They embrace them. Each obstacle is an opportunity, each mistake a lesson, each defeat a stepping stone to victory. They do not see life's challenges as barriers, but as training grounds. Every time they stumble, they rise with more clarity, more resolve, more understanding of what it takes to win. They know that life does not happen to them, they happen to life. And in this shift lies their power. They are not deterred by the size of the mountain before them, because they understand that the mountain is only as insurmountable as their mind allows it to be. For those trapped in an external mindset, life feels like a game rigged against them. They see obstacles as evidence that they are not meant to succeed, that the universe conspires to keep them down. They seek validation in their hardships, building identities around their struggles, finding comfort in the predictability of their pain. But this comfort is a prison. It offers no growth, no progress, no hope. Those who take action, who shift their locus of control, see this prison for what it is. They understand that freedom lies on the other side of discomfort, that change demands the courage to step beyond the familiar, to challenge the narratives that hold them back. The mind is a battlefield, and the fight for control is relentless. Every thought is a skirmish, every decision a battle, every action a campaign in the war against victimhood. Those who win do so because they understand that control is not about dominating the world, but mastering their response to it. They do not need life to be fair, they only need the will to fight. They do not require perfect conditions. They create progress under any circumstance. They understand that the power they seek is not something external, but something within, waiting to be claimed, waiting to be believed in. When you take action, you rewrite the rules. You no longer see yourself as a character in someone else's story, but as the author of your own. You gain the ability to influence your reality, to change the trajectory of your life, to move with purpose rather than being moved by circumstance. This is what separates those who thrive from those who survive. The understanding that control is not a gift, but a discipline. Those who cultivate it do not ask for life to be easy. They prepare themselves to endure whatever comes. They do not pray for less adversity, they train to handle more. They do not wait for rescue, they become their own saviors. In the end, the choice is simple but profound. You can remain a spectator watching as life happens to you, or you can step onto the stage and take control of the script. You can live at the mercy of circumstance, blaming the world for your shortcomings, or you can take responsibility for your fate, knowing that every moment offers a choice. Every choice builds momentum. Every action shifts you from passive to active, from powerless to powerful. The truth is not that life is easy or fair. The truth is that you are capable of shaping it to your will. But nobody else can do it for you. The pen is in your hand, the canvas before you blank. And the only question that remains is this: will you take control and write your own story, or will you let the world write it for you?